Hello everyone and welcome back to a short EP review. In this video I'm gonna review Let's Hope Heteros Fail, Learn and Retire by Longyu Gao. This is the second EP of Hyperpop producer, singer and songwriter Longyu Gao, who over the past couple of years made a few tracks that were fairly popular in the scene. There was also the debut EP in 2021, High Dragon and Universe, which I found it to be a decent release, not something particularly all that exceptional, but I saw that there was potential for something even greater. But what we get with this brand new EP over here is something that exceeded all of my expectations, not just for Longyu Gao, but for hyperpop standards in general. Though simply categorizing this as a hyperpop release is kind of an understatement, as this is undoubtedly one of the most unique, varied and most refreshing projects I've heard all year, without a doubt. This is also one that goes more into metal directions, something that I can't necessarily say was unexpected because we've seen many artists, especially in this more pop sphere, to go into metal directions like this, but I didn't expect such a polished release when it comes to electronic pop and metal music. Now, when it comes to the intro, which is the self-titled song Let's Hope Heteros Fail, Learn and Retire, the unfortunate thing about this track is that it actually ends up feeling like an intro, which is kind of weird considering that we're talking about the longest moment in this album over here, going for 3.5 minutes. That's because the tracks are not really all that long. We're talking about pretty short tracks over here, but the thing with this one is that it takes a while to really reach a certain point, and it does end up feeling more of like an introduction. But I like how refreshing it is, in the sense that it starts with this circus carnival aesthetic. It's kind of sweet, but as it goes on it becomes this more aggressive and intense song going into directions of trap and industrial music, which I find to be pretty decent. It's still a really good song, but the pacing is not necessarily my favorite out of this one. Same with the reprise, the final song, which is kinda unnecessary in my opinion. It doesn't really bring anything other than just a way to end this project, and that's about it. But anything else about this EP is spectacular, from banger after banger, with amazing ideas and some of the most intriguing stuff I've heard all year so far. Come to Brazil is an insanely addictive trap banger. It starts more as a snap song, the production is really grimy, I like how heavily reverbed the snap sound is, and I also really enjoy the tone of the vocal deliveries. It's really infectious, and then you have this great trap beat switch at the second half where the track becomes absolutely insane and chaotic, with all of those different sound effects and samples coming together. The addition of the kick towards the end of the song makes it even more hard-hitting, and it has the right amount of compression, slightly distorting everything with this insane bass. An immaculate song when it comes to production from Dylan Brady, and undoubtedly one of the most addictive songs I've heard all year. The track Believe the Hype with all the Sykes of Bring Me the Horizon fame is one that I was aware of when it came out the previous year, but I ended up not listening to it, and my god, I definitely did not expect something like this. It's insane how much Oli Sykes has ended up blending with so many different genres in the past couple of years, and his contribution in this song is really good. Some very good vocal deliveries in my opinion, and overall a track that is absolutely insane. One that I can see why people might not like as much, because it is a bit of an obnoxious listen, intentionally so. It's a track with lots of sudden high-pitched screams, devolving into a really weird trap metal section, then it gets really chill once again, and towards the end we get a couple of seconds of intense glitchy mess and chaos. Weirdly enough, this is a track that you can sort of categorize in the style of crankcore, which for me crankcore, and obviously for almost everyone, is a genre that absolutely sucks. But for me, crankcore is a genre that had the potential for something even better. I was seeing this potential, but the problem is that all of those artists in these genres ended up trying to take themselves way too seriously, especially for something as ridiculous as this, with mostly excruciating context surrounding it and being of bad taste. But what we get with Believe the Hype comes from a place of self-awareness. It is sarcastic, it knows not to take itself that much seriously, and it's also done in a much more polished approach and production. This is definitely still gonna make people mad though, because I understand how the vocals and this weird combination of sounds and genres might end up feeling a little bit irritating and obnoxious. I get that. However, I believe we can all agree that it's of a much better taste in comparison to what you would expect from old school crankcore stuff. This one feels pretty refreshing, and I really like many of the elements out of this. I like the pacing, I like the production, I even find the vocals to actually be really good. I really like the screams out of Longyu Gao on this one. So yeah, I personally find this to be an excellent song. Make You Love Me is a track that I didn't really think a lot out of it when I first listened to it. I thought that it was decent, but it was certainly not one of my favorite moments. It felt like a predictable approach of a track that goes into a more metal side and then becomes pop, and then it's this cycle repeating itself, which at this point it's something that it has become a little bit predictable. We've seen this from lots of pop artists done recently, and so it didn't really feel like that much of a surprise for me. But listening to this more and more, it ended up becoming a huge grower on me. It is actually one of the most polished tracks in my opinion when it comes to this fusion of metal and pop stuff. It is also one of those tracks with the highest contrast between those genres. The metal portions end up sounding really intense and aggressive. On the other hand, the pop sections end up feeling way too cutesy. It also goes into a style of kawaii future bass, and it's just so cute and silly. And another track that I like how it doesn't really take itself all that much seriously, but it's so well polished. I really like the transitions. I believe that it's a really well paced song, and the pop elements end up feeling so catchy and addictive. Really dig the production out of this one, and another spectacular song out of this project in my opinion. Then there's the track Monk, which is definitely one of the most surprising and one of the most bizarre things I've heard all year. You ever thought that you would see a day where you could listen a combination of crossover thrash with hyperpop? Because this is what you actually get with Monk. It legit has an old school thrash and punk aesthetic with a more modern production and just becoming batshit insane really fast. It has a very small hard bass portion, it has a weird solo coming out of nowhere with Hatsune Miku effects, and then at the end it has a proper guitar solo with a bit of a change up when it comes to the melody, and just in general it's a really obscure song for its short runtime. One that also became a grower because I ended up liking all of the elements about this song. Then there's the track Hello Kitty, which, how do you even describe this song? This is a masterpiece. This is one of the most refreshing, one of the most eclectic, and one of the most unique things I think I've ever heard. It is such a weird combination of sounds that just works fascinatingly in my opinion. So basically this is like an alternative metal and art punk song with heavy polka influences. Yes, it is mostly like a polka song with really weird structures to it. It is even like an avant-garde metal song in certain occasions. The beat feels so weirdly stiff and mechanical, and you have all of those insane, weirdly structured drum fills. There is also this weird bridge that are these like horn-sounding parts that sound like actual car horns. It is such an imaginative and bizarre song, and the craziest thing about it is that it feels like one of the most cohesive songs over here. It doesn't really go that much out of its way to have that many absurd transitions in comparison to previous songs. Amazing experience from start to finish, an incredible and catchy chorus. I would never expect to listen to something like this, and I believe that Longyu Gao outdid themselves on this one. What a track! Finally, there's the track Sykes, which, interestingly enough, it feels like the smoothest and most serious song, at least instrumentally, because lyrically it's actually the most vulgar and sexually explicit moment that we get out of this project. In this sense, it feels kinda similar to what we got with Give Great Thanks by Dora and Electra. This is another track that didn't really click that much for me at the beginning, but it became a huge grower. It's a track that I really like with a combination of the many electronic elements, having drum and bass breakbeats and then switching to hard bass sections. It has a nice dark atmosphere to it, there is a really beautiful use of synths, and it's in general a really catchy song. This is undoubtedly one of the most eclectic and most exceptional things I've heard in a while. I absolutely love this project. It exceeded my expectations. It's definitely not gonna be for everyone, as almost all of the songs feel extremely inconsistent one from each other, but the lyrical themes, the sarcastic elements, the self-awareness, this really weird production and fusion of sounds is something that really impressed me. I don't know what the future awaits, but we might indeed be listening to the future of music, and even if that's not gonna be the case, so far I cannot think of a greater blend of pop, metal and electronic music that I've ever heard. I'm gonna give Let's Hope Heteros Fail, Learn and Retire a 9+ out of 10. What's your opinion on this EP? Like it, dislike it, why? And what do you want to review next time? Let me know down in the comments. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe for more content like this. Thank you for watching, I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye.